Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Landscape Marketing Secrets. Today, we are going to be talking about branding, and we're going to talk about why branding is so important and what you can do and what branding means. So we'll start with that because I'm sure some of you are going, what's branding and why do I care? Branding is what gives you an identity. So I'll give you some examples. The golden arches, the swoop. Soon as I say these things, you know what company it is because they're branded well. So, and what's interesting about these companies, even Coca-Cola, trademark red, Heinz ketchup, that specific shade of red. These are companies that you think don't necessarily need to be branding and promoting themselves all the time, but they understand that the key to a good brand is to consistently brand and promote yourself all the time. So certainly none of us are going to be as popular as the swoosh. Did I call it swoop? Swoosh. And the golden arches. But let's talk a little bit about how to put branding into your landscape business. And this is one of the perils I found of doing my podcasts on YouTube now, as well as doing them just through voice, is that you could see where my eyes go. So you could see that I have to look at my notes, but sorry, I can't memorize all this. I will say, though, that I found my topic by doing AI and chatbot and asking for ideas, and it gave me the idea of branding. So thanks, AI. It's a good one. Okay, so let's get started. Why this is so important is it's kind of funny. About once a year, and we have the word aqua in our name, so I get it. But easily once a year, someone thinks we're another pond company. And that doesn't bother me because it could be way worse as someone always thinking we're a pond company. And what's funny is usually people, well, that would make sense. I guess I only hear about the ones that call us, but we get called and people think we were this other company they worked with, and we're not. And then every once in a while we get yelled at for something the company did and it wasn't us. So that's always fun. But so a brand is really, really, really important in our business because it's what differentiates you from other people, especially if you're doing something like mowing lawns, that may be what we call a commodity business, which kind of means someone else can do it too. So a commodity product is, things that can be the same for the same industry. There's nothing unique about it. You're going to mow a lawn. So how do you brand that? How do you make yourself stand out? How do you make your pond company stand out? And the most important thing to start with is your logo. And I want those of you that have not seen our logo, and why would you have, go to aquareale.com, AQUAREALE.com. And the reason why is I want you to look at our logo. We spent a lot of money, well, we traded an entire backyard with a pond, with everything for our logo, for our brand. And she did a really good job. And if you look at it, it says Aqua Reale, but the E's in it in Reale are both like they're waves, water waves. So that was subliminally pointing you towards the fact that we do water features. So those are the sort of things. And then how do we use our logo? Our logo is the basis for our whole brand. Its colors, its identity, the water flowing. So, I've seen logos that look like you got them on Fiverr. Not that there's anything Fiverr, is a website where you could, it connects you to graphic, all kinds of people, freelancers that are willing to do things for you for cheap. So there are sometimes that's really good, but your logo, just watch. It really needs to stand out. And if you just have something basic or something that doesn't really explain what you do, it may be time to consider a different logo. So with the logo, though, comes color palette. And this is so important to us that we literally call it Aqua Reale Blue. And Aqua Reale Blue is kind of this light blue, and everything is in this color. It's our website. It's our trucks. It's our t-shirts. It's even, my husband got a Mini Cooper last year that he's going to take to business consults. And we waited a year to get it in Aqua Reale Blue, in this blue color we wanted that was only available from like 2014 to 2016. And we finally found one in California and had to have it shipped. But that's how important this is to us, because when you see these colors, you know who we are. And so it's not just about, your logo at this point. It's about what color is your logo and how does everything else match. And it doesn't have to match exactly, but you need to have a strong brand identity to the point we're hoping where when you see the blue, the Aquareale blue, you think of Aquareale. So I was trying to think of some brands that, are really strong in our industry. And one that I came up with was it Dirt Monkey Academy? And even Tom Reber and his contract fight. He does a really good job of being this tough Tom Reber. And that's his brand, and good for him because it's fighting. Get it? He's a fighter. So everything he does kind of goes to that. And that makes a lot of sense for him and what he's trying to say, because what he's doing is he's connecting who he is to how it looks. And that's what I'm suggesting you guys do. Brand messaging is also, well, two things. Let's just start with the fact that branding is, like I said, it's your logo, it's your colors, it is your website, it is your t-shirts, it is your signage on your trucks, everything should match. And that's part of what makes you look professional. My husband and I laugh, but we call when contractors come, we had a contractor once that came in just a white van. And we used to call it the burglar van. So, we're always like, is he giving candy out later to kids? So don't travel around in a burglar van. Even if you can't afford like a wrap, get magnets for your truck. Just something that makes you look a little more professional than that. And so then the second point is, what does your brand mean? And who are you as a company? So we're two things. We really like to consider ourselves to be the Nordstrom of pond companies. And what that means is we're not cheap, but we're really good. And that might not be your brand, and that's fine. But for us, we know we're not cheap. Ponds are notoriously, like, pond maintenance is really good business. You can make really good money in it, but you need to look professional, especially if you're charging a decent amount of money. So for us, like I said, it's top service. It's leave the place looking better than when you went in. It is making sure all the, even if you didn't touch the hose, if you see it, you're going to fix it up. You're just going to try to make the place look really good. One of our foremen brings dog treats with him everywhere. And so, which is great, because we want part of our brand is family friendly. And so, or rather, we're a family run business. And that's really important to us. And that has to show with our employees, and we have to mean it, not just say it. So one of our employees right now is away for a month, which is really stressful because he's the driver. Our other employee isn't we know why now, but he can't drive our vehicles, hopefully next year, but he can't get insured. And so this other guy, Josh, is our driver. Josh is in Korea for a month. And he went for a family wedding. He's Korean, but he's never been to Korea. He was going to visit his grandmother, who he might never see again. And he was going to kind of tour his country, his homeland. How do we say no to that? It's a terrible time because, it's still our busy season and we have a lot of work to be done. But again, you got to practice what you preach. If you're saying you're a family run business, you better let people go be with their family. And so that's, even when we went to the ball game a month ago, we went to a Phillies game. We took our whole company. We took their significant others. We like people to, you could see me touching the microphone because I'm too short for it. So I have to hold it. Anyway, the secret's when you see me. So it's really important to us for our employees, spouses, and significant others to feel a part of our family. So even we had our son's bar mitzvah recently, and every one of our employees came with their significant others, if they have them, and everyone had a great time. And it was so awesome. I know none of you are Jewish, maybe one besides me. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but you hold the family up. I didn't do it, but my son, my daughter, and my husband all went up in chairs. And so it was really cool because when I saw the pictures, they finally came in on Friday, and it's all of our guys are the ones holding up the chairs. And that's just, I don't know, to me, that's really meaningful because it's saying, we welcome you. You're a part of our family and you're acting like it at a family event. So that's just awesome. When it comes to brand messaging, like I said, pick your message. So what is it? It could even be we're the cheapest. There's nothing wrong with that. We compete on price. Fine. Discount Bob's. I'm just making that up. But, and that's fine. Bob has cheap prices. Great. So whatever it is, though, you can't just say we're Nordstrom and then walk away. You have to practice what you preach. You have to show what makes you your brand. And it might be, I really recommend sitting down with your staff. We meet every week on Wednesday mornings. It's really important to sit down with your staff and talk about stuff. And this week we talked about, first we talked about bad fashion choices. We always start with an icebreaker. Man, these guys did not disappoint. Everything from pleather pants to frosted tips in second grade. So that was a really good one. And then from there, we talked this week, everyone talked about something negative or something they were having issues with, and then something that was going well. And that was a really nice way to do it because we were able to see, we show we care, which we do. We talk about problems and we talk about what we can do to solve them. So, what are your unique selling points? What makes you, why would people hire you? And like I said, it could be price. It could be that you get back to people right away, which we do. It could be you're a family run business. And so we say that, but what's great is our Facebook page shows it. You see pictures of us at the games. You see our guys at our bar mitzvah. You see these things that show we don't just say it. Now we have a policy that anytime we're somewhere and we hear an animal has passed away, a dog or even fish, we send a gift. We don't send flowers for fish. We send money so they can buy new fish if it was our fault. Oops, that happened recently. Happens to everyone. Fish kills are just part of life, man. But maybe they're not to some people, but like once a year it happens. But when someone's dog passes away and we're aware of it, we send flowers. If someone's grandma passes away, I just put grandmas and dogs in the same category. Sorry, grandmas. Someone important, there you go, in your life, and we know about it, we're going to honor them. We have even sent, we were building a pond for someone whose little girl was fascinated and her grandmother had recently died. And so one of our guys came up with the idea to go on Etsy and get this personalized thing that said Grace's Garden. And Grace was the name of the grandmother. So it's just like little things like that, don't cost a lot of money, but they're super thoughtful. And that's our brand, is family business. So, that also talks about your brand voice. Who are you? What do you say? And I have a homework assignment for you guys. We'll see who does it. But write down 10 things that makes your brand your brand. What do you want people to think about when they hear your name? And then how are you going to get them to do that? And I think if you do that exercise, send it to me. I'd love to see it and give you comments. But if you do that, you're seeing how you need to take your brand a couple steps further. And that leads me to my next point, which is brand consistency. Again, if we are charging a lot of money and we're saying we're Nordstrom, we better look good. And that means our t-shirts are clean. Our sweatshirts aren't ripped, although my guys can rip a sweatshirt in like 3 days. Our hats are clean. And so we really offer our guys, as many of the clothing items as they need so that it always looks fresh and good, because that's part of our brand. But it comes to more than that. It comes in how we communicate, in how we email, in how we answer the phone, in how we text. So we're not texting a client. I think I've mentioned this before, but I had a contractor once text me and said, "See you later." And it was like an L and an 8 and, an ER. And I was like, really? For us, and I get texting is not dear blah, blah, blah. I want to say blah, but use complete sentences, I think, and use punctuation. That's also really important is, for us, good punctuation and spelling. Grammar matters. And if you're calling yourself the Nordstrom of companies and you're spelling your wrong or too wrong, which drives me nuts, people are going to see that. And whether you see it or not, and you think, well, I got it done quickly, that doesn't look good, because then you're saying, I'm going to get your stuff done quickly. Take the time to make sure you're brand consistent on everything. And that includes your communication. If you're doing email marketing, and if you're not, you better reach out to me. But, if you're doing email marketing, do you have your logo there? What do your pictures look like? Are they professional? Are you, even how you space? I've seen weekly tips that look great, but they're all spaced together and there's no paragraphs. And there's something in our business called chunking as a writer, where you chunk information to make it easy to read. Have, bigger fonts, have bigger spaces between paragraphs. You don't want just one run-on sentence is not going to make you look good. So, the other thing that I want to mention is the importance of telling a story in your brand. Stories about your company history, stories about your values, stories about your projects, and client success stories. These are all things that make people feel connected to the brand and make them feel connected to you. And where do you get the stories? From your employees. And your employees, thank you. That gave myself an idea that this week for our weekly meeting, we're going to discuss some story ideas and what story each of them would like to tell. And it could be about a customer, it could be about a number of things. But the point is, show what you're doing. Show, we're not going to put this email out and be like, hey, if your dog dies, we're going to send you flowers. But, I know I keep harping back on these poor dogs, but just show who you are and what makes you that way, if that makes sense. So you're not just saying we're blah, blah, blah. You're saying, here's some examples. So, and I try to do that with our Facebook posts. Like I said, that, hey, Aqua Reality took the whole company to the baseball game. Here's a picture of us all. We had so much fun. And that's a story. But more than that, tell a story about your clients. Here's something we did. Oh, God. We had we've chased down, not me, chased down streets to catch dogs that got out. We had, we had one employee, we love him and miss him. And he actually noticed that the kids were super into the pond when he was cleaning it. So next time he went, he bought teeny tiny fish nets for the kids. And then they were able to scoop out fish as well. So that's part of our storytelling, because what does that go back to? Family values. So you can see how you do it. I'm very curious to see what you guys come up with for your brands and how you show that in your stories. So as always, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. And I would also love some podcast guests and topics. So if any of you would like to be on my podcast and talk a little bit about your story, your brand, or whatever you want, reach out to me. For everyone, it's Laura at LandscapeMarketingSecrets.com. Or it might be way easier to text me, which is 215-805-8257. So reach out, tell me who you are, tell me about your branding stuff, or tell me why you want to be on my podcast. Just tell me something. As always, you can find me on YouTube, please, since I get dressed for this. No more pajamas. I'm wearing them under my dress. But you can like, subscribe, comment to my podcast. I'd really appreciate it. Have a wonderful week. Start working on your brand, and I'll see you all later.